Hey y'all, Bolen Outdoors here, and today is archery day setup. So I switched up my sight on my bow from a 5-pin to a 3-pin. I've actually never run a 3-pin, but figured I'd try it out this year just to see if I like it. But before I do that though, I do need to cut some arrows. I picked up a new box of Bloodsport Hunter Extremes. Yes, these are the cheap arrows you get from Walmart. Been shooting these for years and I've never had a problem with them. They fly straight. I like them. No reason to switch up something that's working currently for me. But these do come in at 31 inches, so I got to cut them down to my size, which is usually about 29. So we're going to play with that a little bit, get everything measured out and cut, and we'll go from there. All right, so I've got all my arrows marked exactly where I want them. Now I don't have some specialized tool. I don't even have a Dremel. What I'm using is a pipe cutter. Now this is something the way I've done it, it works. Maybe one day I'll invest in getting a Dremel. But doing this is pretty straightforward. So you're not going to put tons of pressure on this, okay? I'm just going to get it there on my mark. Make sure you got adequate lighting. And just going to ever so lightly put that on there, okay? And if you're familiar with the pipe cutter, it's already got grooves in it, so it lines up. The next thing I'm going to use here is going to be a drill. Same thing with this. I'm not hammering this thing down. Obviously putting it on the end that I'm cutting. But I just want to lightly tighten it. That's all. Okay? And then just gauging with another arrow to make sure it didn't move. Okay. See, it's cutting through. Okay, I'm gonna scoot this over because I don't want to drop into the floor. That's it. And excuse me, it's got a little rough edge there, but we'll hit that with the sandpaper. But that should be golden. That's exactly what I want. It is a little bit of a process doing it that way, but it does work. So it can be done. Alright, so it's the last arrow. Went ahead and cut all the other ones. And I figured on this one maybe I'll highlight this a little bit further too, because maybe you want to try this but you've never done it before. I know that first one I went through kind of quick. So something that you can do too is you could also do this by hand if you wanted, instead of using the drill. So again, I'm going to get this set on my mark here. And I don't want it to crunch. Don't want to set it too hard. Again, just very gently get it set. Now, as said, you can just do that by hand. Get your little line started. Teeny little twist. Get your line started. Teeny little twist. All right. Again, you don't want any crunching sounds. All right. So you could do that all the way through. It might just take a minute. Or if you wanted to, since that started now, you can just do that. It's got a nice groove in there, so you don't have to worry about jumping the groove or moving. Then you can come back over here and do this. I think one more little twist is probably going to do it for us. Yeah, it's getting close. Compare that to my master arrow. Make sure I don't need to trim any off. But yeah, we look golden. So that's it. So we got 6 arrows now all cut down and ready for me to sand. All right. So I just got some very high grit sandpaper, real fine. Don't know the exact number on it. Oh, 400. There we go. Probably don't need to go that high, but again, I just want to make sure that any little bits sticking up are gone. So we're going to go through, going to do that, and we can move on to getting things glued in. All right, so got our hot glue ready, got our inserts ready. We're gonna go ahead and get a couple of these loaded up. We'll be giving them 24 hours to dry. And by tomorrow, should be hitting some targets. Everything goes well. Now, this last little bit's always pretty hard to get seated. There we go. I'm not globbing this stuff in. I'm going pretty light with it. Obviously, I don't want to affect the weight on my arrows here, so just like that. All right, so it's the next day. I just came out and I checked all these arrows that we put the inserts in yesterday. We cut, and they all seem to be good. I actually just put a target tip in this one. So what I'm going to be doing here in just a few is getting the target out on the range out back here. I'll be shooting each of these with the target tip just to make sure they fly right. Now again, these Bloodsport arrows I've never had an issue with, so I'd be very surprised if for some reason one of them was acting funny, but they should all fly good. Once that's done, I'll then be taking one of these out of the pack, and that's what I'm going to use to sight my pins in with. The reason why is because this is 150 grain, this tip is 100 grain, and on top of that, I always like to have a sacrificial broadhead that I just use when I'm shooting targets, just to make sure everything's on point with exactly that setup. So I'm going to shoot all these, make sure they're flying right. I'll then switch over to the broadhead, get the pins tuned in, and just for the heck of it too, I always keep these on hand. These are just a small game broadhead. These are, I was going to say, I think they're Allen, which I don't know, they renamed it Titan, but it says by Allen. I always like to just keep one of those in my quiver at all times, just in case I do happen to see a squirrel or rabbit or something I want to take a shot at. But once I get everything tuned in with the Crimson Talon broadheads, I might just shoot one of those just so I know where, because that's only 100 grain, where that's hitting out on the target in case I do have an opportunity to shoot something small while I'm out in the field. But yeah, we'll get some footage from the range and go from there. Alright, so I got my pin set at 15. These arrows cut and the broadhead on. Let's see how it flies. Okay, so that's going to wrap up the shooting for today. As I said, got these Crimson Talons. I had to cut the arrows, and I also got that 3-pin sight on. Now, much to my surprise, and I didn't include this in the video, but like when I'm trying to get a new sight in, I'll usually start out at like 5 yards, 10, and back off. This one I set at 15, 25, 35, and yeah, as soon as I got that first 15-yard pin set with the 100 grain field tip, I mean, these were just right on point. I really didn't have to tweak too much. Getting the second pin on, I mean, it was pretty much right on. I didn't even have to do anything to the second pin. The third pin, I did have to make a couple adjustments because I shot it was going just a little bit high, but then I made one adjustment, got it on, and went right, went left, and I thought maybe I'm just moving. That's my own mistake, and sure enough, it was. It was pretty much right on point. So yeah, we're all set. I mean, aside from doing regular practice throughout the season here, or the off season, I should say, leading up to the season, which is in a little over a month, should be all set. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hammering some deer with these broadheads, and I'll keep you posted on how that goes.